Welcome to Real USA. Today we're in Ferguson, Missouri. About 3 months ago, a police officer shot dead a black unarmed teenager here, creating a nationwide debate about racism and socioeconomic inequality in the United States. This week on Real USA, we'll talk about that event and many others like it that show another reality of life in the United States, brought to you only by Telesaur. I'm Sarah Begum. You can follow us on Twitter at Telesaur English and share your views as you watch the program. 3 months have passed and tensions are still high in Missouri after the assassination of a young African American, Michael Brown. Many residents are afraid that chaos could erupt again, but the demands of protesters go beyond claiming for justice in a community that's already afflicted with violence. Steve Mort brings us this report from St. Louis.
Night after night, for more than 2 months now, angry protesters have been taking to the streets in Ferguson. Weeks after these riots rocked the St. Louis suburb, crowds still regularly gather outside the Ferguson Police Department, calling for the officer who shot Michael Brown to be indicted. And despite a leaked autopsy report showing the teenager may have reached for Officer Darren Wilson's gun before the shooting, there is no sign of tensions easing.
Many local residents say the frustrations of the African American community in St. Louis run deeper than the shooting of Michael Brown. Many say that the harsh economic realities in poorer parts of the city provide fuel for the ongoing tensions.
Leanna Moore has been cutting hair in Ferguson for more than 20 years. She says the problems were here long before Michael Brown was killed.
Where there's no jobs, there's no money. You know, and I think that a lot of these people are having a very hard time getting a job in this area and outside of this area.
St. Louis is consistently ranked as one of America's most dangerous cities, with high levels of violent crime, including assaults, murders and rapes. A new commission launched by Missouri's governor has been tasked with looking into the social and economic conditions underlying the unrest. Some local residents say a poor public education system hampers African Americans' chances of going to college and getting well-paid jobs.
We don't have the income to get into the schools that we want to go to. So if you don't have the incomes, then how are you going to, get a loan to go to school?
Other residents say tough new standards for schools in the St. Louis area have meant some school districts losing their accreditation, making it more difficult for students to move into higher education after they graduate.
Even if you graduate from high school, there's nothing guaranteeing that you'll be able to go to college with the high school diploma that you receive from the local schools.
And community leaders point to high levels of expulsions from schools as a reason that many young men end up disenfranchised.
Zero tolerance policies create a pipeline from the schoolyard to the prison yard. We have a system that has systematically excluded African Americans, Latinos, poor whites from the American dream.
A decision on whether to indict Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson is expected to come next month. Steve Mort for Telesaur in St. Louis.